The end of the world could happen any day now, and how it could happen tends to be something that's speculated on quite a bit. Today we're going to break down some of the most chilling ways, ranging from some ideas that were really out there to the usual everything's going to explode, and beyond. Let me know how you think the world is going to end in the comments, and let's hear from the experts. So not all doomsday predictions are steeped in religious fervor or science fiction, some are based actually solidly upon respected science. Most scholars agree that 7.6 billion years from right now, the sun will enter its red giant phase when it has converted all of its hydrogen into helium. This will then cause the sun to expand to a size 20% greater than that of Earth's orbit and shine 3,000 times brighter. Once this stage is complete, the sun will then collapse into a white dwarf. So you might be asking, what exactly are red giant stars? So these are these bright, bloated, low to medium mass stars that approach the ends of their lives. Nuclear fusion is the life source of stars, and they undergo this within their stellar cores to exert a pressure counteracting the inward force of gravity. Stars fuse progressively heavier and heavier elements throughout their lives, so from the outset, stars fuse hydrogen to helium, but once stars that will form RSGs exhaust hydrogen, they're unable to counteract the force of gravity. So instead, their helium core begins to collapse at the same time as surrounding hydrogen shells reignite, puffing out the star with skyrocketing temperatures and also creating an extraordinarily luminous, rapidly bloating star. So as the star's outer envelope cools, it reddens, forming the red giant. Now, whether this process will actually destroy our planet is a topic of debate in the scientific community. If Earth were to stay in its current orbit, it would undoubtedly be engulfed and vaporized by the expanding sun. However, as the sun swells, it will also lose mass, meaning that Earth could possibly drift further away from it and maybe escape total destruction. Either way, this process would destroy life as we know it, that is, if there was any life left to destroy. So many folks are familiar with Isaac Newton's extensive contributions to mathematics and science, but not his doomsday prediction. It's probably because it's kind of hard to tie an event like Doomsday, a tale of imminent failure, to a man with several recorded successes. But even with his interest in science, Isaac Newton also studied theology and religion. He studied biblical scholarship extensively and thought that the Bible's prophecies were symbolic and required interpretation by a skilled scholar like himself. Look, it's a credit to how good Isaac Newton was at physics and math that people rarely mention that time that he threatened to burn his mother's house down, or the equally baffling time he stuck a number of syringes into his own eyeballs to see what would happen. Yeah, when Newton wasn't revolutionizing our notions of motion and gravity, he was, by today's standards, a bit of a weird dude. So as well as by the way, he also dedicated a lot of his spare time to the study of alchemy, which was a medieval belief that metals could be turned into gold. Oh, and right, I forgot to mention, he had a keen interest in the occult, because why not? So his doomsday predictions came to light in 2003 when media outlets claimed to possess one of Newton's early writings predicting the world would end in 2060. Now, while some folks believe that Newton's writing on the apocalypse was pure speculation and not an actual prediction, I don't know. In one attempt written on a letter slip next to real math calculations of the non-apocalypse type, well, let's see what we got, folks. Let's read it word for word. The 2300 prophetic days do not commence before the rise of the little horn of the he-goat. Prop 2. Those days did not commence after the destruction of Jerusalem and ye temple by the Romans. The times and a half a time did not commence before the year 800, in which the Pope's supremacy commenced. Number 4. They did not commence after the reign of Gregory VII in 1084. 5. The 1290 days did not commence before the year 842. 6. They did not commence after the reign of Pope Greg VII in 1084. 7. The difference between the 1290 and 1335 days are a part of the 7 weeks. Therefore, the 2300 years do not end before ye year 2132 nor after 2370. The time and a half time do not end before 2060 nor after. The 1290 days do not end before 2090 nor after. So after all that, people who are against Newton's doomsday prediction, well, it's because they insist that he was an atheist, despite, once again, his interest in theology and biblicalness. They're like, no, he didn't believe in Christ or the worship of a divine being. Well, we've got proof otherwise. So for this reason, it's like, oh, he couldn't have predicted an apocalypse based on his theological writings. Well, he did. In Aztec mythology, the term five suns refers to the belief of certain Nahua and Aztec cultures that the world has gone through 4 distinct cycles of creation and destruction. And our current present era? That's the fifth one! Now, according to Aztec tradition, after the destruction of every world, it is reborn through the sacrifice of a god. Now, the Aztecs associated the mode of destruction of the earth with the name of the day the present world would end. The first world, that of creation, ended on a day for Ocelot, so this world was ended by a jaguar consuming all the people in that world. The second sun ended on a day for wind, and the humans were destroyed by a very strong wind. The third sun ended on a day for rain, and the world was destroyed by a rain of fire. Now the fourth creation ended on a day for water, and the world was destroyed by a great flood. Yeah, Noah's Ark. Now the present era, the fifth sun, was predicted to end on a day for movement, and thus would be destroyed by a movement of the earth, so like an earthquake. Now this sequence is shown pictorially on the Aztec sunstone, which is typically called the Aztec calendar stone. Now the Aztecs say, this fifth world is the last one. After this, the planet's not going to come back from it. In Norse mythology, Ragnarok, or the fate of the gods, is the end of days. It's the big moment when the entire universe will be destroyed and all the gods will disappear. It's considered a prophecy, one that not even the gods could change, because they're just going to have to accept their fate. According to all this mythology, we're talking Odin, Thor, Loki, many other Norse gods are going to get involved in this great series of battles, and many natural disasters, including the burning of the world, will end in the submersion of the world underwater. And after the chaos, the world will rise again, fresh and clean. It will be repopulated by 2 human survivors who will begin the life cycle again. Now, Ragnarok is a very important event in Norse mythology and has been the subject of scholarly discourse and theory in a lot of history and studies. The Titanomachy is the mythological war between the Olympian gods and the Titans, and according to this myth, the Titans were a race of divine and powerful but chaotic beings who ruled the cosmos before the rise of the Olympian gods, who represented a more stable cosmic order. So in this entire war, the Olympian gods, led by Zeus and his brothers, faced the Titans in an epic battle, in which the gods prevailed. So the gods imprisoned the Titans in Tartarus, a prison in the depths of the underworld. Now, some interpretations of this war suggest that if the Titans were released from their prison and returned to defy the Olympian gods, a catastrophic conflict and cosmic imbalance would be unleashed on all. Now, according to these interpretations, such a duel would be so powerful that it could cause the total destruction of the world. How'd you know? In Babylonian mythology, Nibiru is the name of a planet or wandering star associated with the god Marduk. And according to Babylonian texts, Nibiru was considered the dwelling place of the gods, and its appearance in the sky was believed to have cosmic significance. So in modern times, this has been associated with an end-of-the-world theory. And this theory suggests that Nibiru is a massive planet that is approaching Earth and will provoke a cataclysm, causing Earth to undergo a physical pole shift that would, just destroy most of humanity. Now, this cataclysm is a supposed disastrous encounter between Earth and this weird planetary object, that she is a contactee with the ability to receive messages from extraterrestrials in the Zeta Reticuli star system through an implant in her brain. Now, the prediction has been subsequently spread beyond her website and has been embraced by numerous internet doomsday groups. In the late 2000s, it became closely associated with the 2012 phenomenon. Well, after that came and went, the cataclysm has frequently reappeared in popular media, usually linked to newsmaking astronomical objects, such as Comet Ison or Planet 9. Hinduism believes in cycles of time as the world ages, similar to the Mayan. So a yuga is used to indicate the age of time. Kali Yuga is the 4th and worst of the 4 yugas in a yuga cycle. So Kali, which means strife or quarrel, yuga, is referred to as the present age, packed with conflict and sin. Now, all of this, according to Hinduism, will end after a cataclysm and the re-establishment of Dharma, the religious and moral law. The concept of the fifth world in New Zealand Maori culture refers to a view of time and creation. According to this belief, the universe and humanity have gone through a series of previous cycles or eras, and we are currently living in the fifth world. Each previous cycle or era has been destroyed and replaced by another in a process of cosmic renewal. So according to cosmology, these destructions and renewals occur due to various reasons, such as conflict, imbalance, or human transgressions. However, the fifth world is not necessarily associated with the end of the world in a catastrophic or apocalyptic sense. It's actually interpreted more as an opportunity to move towards a better future and restore balance after cosmic destruction and renewal. According to Aztec mythology, the sun and moon were gods, and eclipses occurred when these gods were being attacked or devoured. So for the Aztecs, the sun was the god of war, and the sun the moon, was the goddess of the moon. Folks believed that these eclipses were the signs of divine conflicts, and they could be the prelude to natural disasters or other catastrophic events that could lead to the world's destruction. So during an eclipse, Aztec priests would perform special ceremonies to ensure that the sun or moon would be released from captivity and to prevent the end of the world. These rituals included offerings, sacrifices, and prayers to restore cosmic balance and maintain harmony in the universe. The Assyrians had a strong belief in gods and their influence on the world's fate. They believed that gods were powerful and whimsical, and that they could manifest their wrath and punish humanity with natural disasters and catastrophic events. In fact, these folks believed that if the gods were outraged about humans' behavior, they could unleash their fury on them. The wrath of the gods was considered a sign of, the end of the world, and priests and fortune tellers had to interpret every signal to make sure that humanity was, in order. In fact, priests would sometimes organize celebrations that involved sacrifices, offerings, and acts of penance to just try and control the wrath of the gods. And that's it for today, folks. I've been Alexa, your resident emo girly. See y'all next time I buzz in over here at Bumblebee.